What is up, guys? It is Joe. We are back. We're talking ball about the Cats today, specifically basketball recruiting as K-State continues to dominate through the class of 2025. If you've seen the thumbnail, you know what we're talking about. There's no sugarcoating it. There's no hiding it. K-State is in the race for the nation's best player in the class of 2025, A.J. Dybantsa. I'm going to talk my thoughts about him, talk about his cut-down list, where K-State goes from here, so on and so forth. He's given some comments about K-State, so is his dad. We'll talk about that a little bit later in this. But before I do, let me remind you this. If you like K-State athletics, K-State basketball, K-State football, be sure to leave a subscription. It does help out immensely if you hit that subscribe button, and it takes maybe 6 seconds out of your day. Please help make my day and do that. Cross that off the checklist because it does help immensely, and I appreciate each and every one who does. Quick reminder, I'm also getting a tattoo with 3,000 subs on the left thigh, so be sure and help us get there. But let's talk A.J. Dybantsa. Now, I'm not going to show highlights because this will be the second time we've already talked about A.J. Dybantsa. He's a stud. He's a beast. You'll hear me talking about everything and more. If you want more information on Dybantsa, you can check it out in a previous video. I will link that here on the card. If I remember, if not, that's on me. Let me tell you a little bit about A.J. Dybantsa. The prospect of Hurricane Utah there at Utah Prep is the nation's #1 ranked player, the #1 player at his position, small forward, and the #1 player in the state of Utah. The dude grades out as a 100 player. He stands 6'9" and weighs 200 pounds, and the dude can fly up and down the court. He is an athletic mismatch. He is a stud. He's a boss. Whatever type of adjective you want to use to describe this kid, it's probably more than deserving. But let me tell you about his cut-down list here. Kansas State obviously making that top 7. We've now seen multiple prospects in the class list us to top 10, top 10, top 8. We've got 7 dudes competing for the top player in the class of 2025. The Cats being one of them, and they are joined by Auburn, Alabama, Baylor, BYU, KU, and North Carolina. So you've got a lot of blue buds on that list. You've got a total of 4 Big 12 teams, and from what I heard, it sounds like BYU is the front runner for A.J. Dybantsa, but that's not to discredit anybody. These processes are always fluid. It's not as simple as you're the best team, you're going to get the kid. It's not always that case. The first dude that broke the story of the cut-down list was from ESPN. I should pull that up here. ESPN's Paul Biancardi. I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I apologize, my man Paul. But A.J. Dybantsa's cut-down list included 7 teams. We talked about that already. He basically talked about each team on the list and some of the questions or some of the sayings that he had about different programs. There was more than just one answer. It wasn't just A.J. Dybantsa talking. His father, Ace, also played a big part in the recruitment process and has spoken a little bit about a couple of different teams. The 2 teams that earned a spot from his dad. So his dad talked about there's only 2 teams on the entire list that had that. Kansas State was one. I believe Alabama was the other. So in discussing Kansas State, A.J. Dybantsa kept it short and sweet, but it was still informational. He said, I talked with Jerome Tang. He told me his guys play with a lot of freedom, but it's also in a system that is geared towards winning. Short and sweet. But then you look at what Ace says and you love it. He says, Tang went to Istanbul, Turkey to see A.J. I like the fact that he understands A.J. is a good decision maker and extension of the coaching staff. He will allow A.J. to play to his strength. I have a good feel for people and I trust Coach Tang. I love that. I trust Coach Tang. That's the beauty of what we're looking for here. Do you trust the coaching staff to get your son where he's meant to be? That's the place to go. Now, I'm not saying he didn't have glowing remarks for any of the other programs. He had good things to say, but I think if you read the writing on the wall, clearly if a support staff is like, I trust Kansas State, we know where they're at. They're not doing anything for a different reason. They're not just, competing for clicks to steal a line from Cormani McLean or whatever. They're not trying to do something different. They are trying to be themselves each and every day. They don't have to sell you on, okay, you're going to come here, you're going to be a first-team All-American, you're going to be incredible, you're going to do blah, blah, blah. You can do that at any program. A.J. Dybantsa is going to go to the NBA regardless of what program he goes to, but you can come to college and go to a spot that's competitive in the NIL space. Big stacks Kansas State, I might toss out there. K-State has been killing it on the recruiting front and showing guys why they deserve to be Wildcats, and I think that's really ringing true to people. It's not just as simple as saying, well, Kansas has NBA prospects, let's go to Kansas, or, okay, Alabama seems to be doing well, let's go to Alabama. Like I've said in previous videos, Kansas State continues to separate. That's the beautiful part here. So I say all that to say I am all in on the A.J. Dybantsa train, as everyone in the country is. It's not shocking news to say we would like to have the best player in college basketball on our team. But let me tell you what Adam Finkelstein, director of scouting at 247 Sports, had to say about our guy. He provided his projection. He's going to be taken in the top 10 picks of the first round of the NBA draft when he does go. I believe it's the early 2026 draft, if I'm not mistaken. A.J. Dybantsa, a 6'9" jumbo wing with expanding wingspans around 7 feet. He's an emerging 200-plus pound frame and has an advanced understanding of how to score from his spots, even in a half-court game. Gotta love that. A.J. Dybantsa is the best prospect in high school basketball. He's not beating around the bush. That's exactly what he means, and he means it. Dybantsa possesses a lethal pull-up game with a high release and smooth ball rotation. He's been a celebrated prospect since before he entered high school. Yet he has avoided any pitfalls of early stardom by consistently improving his game at each level. He was the leading scorer at the 2023 Peach Jam as an underclassman and shows flashes of untapped potential on defense thanks to his size and movement skills. The bottom line is this. Dybantsa controls his own future. If he continues on his current path, there's no one in high school basketball with more potential than him. Got to love that. Kansas State right in the mix there. The dude's ready to roll for A.J. Dybantsa. They were also his most recent offer, so that does deserve a nod to say that they got into the process late, but they're still up there with Dybantsa's main programs. June 15th of 2024, they offered A.J. Dybantsa, and he makes the list. So in addition to his comments about Kansas State and a couple of different programs, I thought there were some interesting nuggets in that ESPN article talking about A.J. Dybantsa's recruitment process. He said this, and I love this. The kid deserves a pat on the back for it. This is what he had to say. I'm looking to build a relationship with a head coach who doesn't sugarcoat anything, but we can still bond both on and off the court. We can talk about things on and off the court and play to my strengths while helping me with my weaknesses. These are the pillars that will define my choice for program. It needs to be family-oriented, a winning program, offer development both on the court and in their strength program, and for me to be a one-and-done with ready impact. Then they asked about the NIL aspect. How much is NIL going to impact his decision? He said, it's a factor, but it's not the reason we're picking a school. This is his father, Ace, talking about it. We left out schools that have a lot of money. AJ will go where he feels he can have the most success on the court. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. You don't want a coach to sugarcoat someone. You want someone that's going to hold you accountable. Who is going to hold you more accountable than Jerome Tang? The dude that continually trends on social media for saying, hey, why do I have to yell at my players to get through to them? If they know how much they mean to me and vice versa, they can take my criticism. I don't have to be a guy that yells at him or screams at him or disappoints him, whatever the case is. I understand where we're both at. They know the respect and the responsibility they have to be the best version of themselves, and they understand my role in that. They understand that, hey, I have to be the guy that helps them get to where they want to go. Otherwise, there's no back and forth. You have to have a working relationship full of love, of trust, to hold guys accountable. Jerome Tang is the most loving, trustworthy dude in college basketball. I've said that at lengths. I think you should probably know where I stand on that. But for A.J. Dybantsa, you can come to Kansas State, be a one-and-done, have ready impact. And the good thing about Dybantsa, it sounds like he's looking to commit in February. That was what was released in the article. So that gives time for guys to see how much impact he could have potentially. You look at a program like Kansas State. You're going to get to watch them play basketball up until March Madness, basically the end of conference basketball. Then you can commit and announce your decision. You're going to get to see guys like Coleman Hawkins and Doug McDaniel. You'll get to see someone in your shoes. I mean, in your shoes subjectively, because this is the top prospect in the class, and it's a little bit different, but you can watch how much impact David Castillo has as a freshman. How much does Jerome Tang trust his guys? How much does Bill Self trust his guys? You can see every single coach on this list and say, how much does he trust his freshmen to go play? If they're a good enough player, they'll go play. David Castillo is going to have impact, and A.J. Dybantsa will get to see that first and foremost. So I'm excited to see what happens there. Will it all work out perfectly? I'm not entirely sure where Kansas State stands, but let's just say this, folks. To sum it up best, they ain't playing around. These dudes are not here for a consolation prize. They're not here to be second or third. They're going fishing, and they're trying to bring home the big fish. So Kansas State continuing their real blood approach to landing these top guys, and I'm excited to see A.J. Dybantsa become a Wildcat, see if he's interested in Kansas State, see where he fits in Manhattan, Kansas. The happiest place on earth when you bring one of the best basketball players in all of high school basketball, bring him to Kansas State, teach him about being a man, about being a basketball player. It's all a little bit of everything. You got to have on the court and off the court stuff. But from what the dude's saying he wants, that can all be found at Kansas State. But that's going to do it for today's video. It's a little bit shorter there, a quick recap on this one, but I appreciate each and every one of you for the continued success. Please keep your eyes out for any A.J. Dybantsa news, because the dude is someone to go all in on. Everybody embrace the man. Shout him out on social media. Do anything you can to get this kid, because he is worth every single penny. He's worth every single bit of effort. It will all be paid back more and in dividends. But my friends, that's going to do it. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Go Cats!